So today we talk now on new set of KS elements, that is uniformly regular KS canonical elements. These we found that they are very accurate, and so accurate in the sense that when we utilize them for orbit computation numerically or even analytically, both we are able to improve upon. So we started my study with the when we were doing the orbital decay of RS-1 satellite. We were finding that after 250 days it is not matching. Then I was in correspondence with a very senior scientist of NASA, V.R. Bond. He has also written a book, a very academician, and those people, they work in the space center and sometimes they come to the university also. So then he suggested me, why not you use these elements because he had also some experience with these elements, and NASA, in that Johnson Space Center, they work with these canonical elements. So then on his suggestion, I started these studies. This is in the second part of the book. So then first we started numerical work, and gradually we converted ourselves to the new analytical work. And we found any analytical work we carried out, it improved upon our earlier analytical work. So we will start this. So I was trying to look for the resume for Professor Schiffel, but anyway, in the process I got the review of the book. I thought let us have what at that time people wrote. So this review was written it was in Russian and translated by NASA Astrophysical Data System. This NASA Astrophysical Data System is good. Many of the very good papers they have, old papers also they have translated and they have put in there. So sometimes we are able to get some of the very good papers which we are otherwise not able to get from this system. So this book, Linear and Regular Celestial Mechanics, the review was written by, there are many people have reviews written. I look at it one more review, but we will have only on this, a look on this review. What at that time, see, the reviews are as function of the person who is reviewing, his knowledge on the areas. So sometimes the entire book may not be properly getting reviewed. At times it happens. Supposing I am reviewing some book and I know some areas, so some areas may be written well, but some area may not get that much prominence. So it looks to me it happens that way. So this is written by Yarovi, MS Yarovi, and it was published in this Soviet Astronomy, is a translated version of the Russian journal this astronomy journal. So let us see what it was written at that time. Stiefel and Schiffel book is devoted to one of the central problems of celestial mechanics and astrodynamics: the development of a theory of perturbed motion that is convenient for applying analytical techniques and the method of numerical analysis. Because Stiefel was good in numerical analysis also, he knew so many areas, as we discussed his career. The book comprises an introduction and 3 parts containing 11 chapters of text divided into 45 sections. There is a bibliography with 38 references and a combined author and subject index. 4 pages at the end of book list the titles of the Springer-Gurewitz series. Among them are some books by Soviet authors that have been translated into German or English. The equations derived in this volume are distinguished mainly for a tendency to reduce the two-body problem to the problem of a simple harmonic oscillator. So that's what when I was taking up my first lecture, we had looked into this. One method is used for this purpose, regularizing the equation and transforming the from rectangular coordinates to certain auxiliary variables. The second operation, the translation to new coordinates, is not necessary. However, it is also possible to use rectangular coordinates for reducing the equations of the two-body problem to the equations of a simple oscillator. Some references also is provided. The book has not a word to say about these papers. Okay, they may be. See, the regularization adopted by the authors is the customary one. Dt is equal to R d psi, where the new variable psi is proportional to the elliptic motion of the eccentric anomaly E. In place of rectangular coordinates, the authors introduce new coordinates, which in the plane case take the form of parabolic coordinates in the plane, the so-called Levi-Civita transform. We had discussed one of the paper, where originally Professor Bhattacharya's work was on this Levi-Civita transformation, and my work also started with this. In the three-dimensional case, the transformation that the authors need does not exist, so that the motion must be considered in four-dimensional space by artificially supplementing three-dimensional space with a new non-integrable fourth coordinate introduced by means of a certain differential relation. Regarding this fourth coordinate as invariant during the motion, the authors assume that all the fundamental laws of mechanics will remain valid in the four-dimensional space, so that it will be possible to reduce the two-body problem to the problem of a simple harmonic oscillator, that is, to a set of linear differential equations with constant coefficients, in which the variables are separable. This transformation, which is carried out in matrix form, is called the K-S transformation, after the names of its inventors, P. Custanimo and Stiefel. After the equations have been integrated in terms of K-stump functions, he uses, in the book, this stump function is also utilized in some part. The relation between the resulting solution of the two-body problem and the ordinary classical solution is explained. The concept of oscillating elements is introduced, which is very important, by means of the independent variable psi, and the corresponding differential equations for these elements are derived using an analog of the eccentric anomaly E as independent variable. It is shown that the application of regularized equations instead of the usual Newtonian equations can diminish the errors of numerical integration. So it is established there. The problem of corresponding for typical perturbation is discussed, particularly perturbations from the flattening of a planet or from a third body problem. These are all discussed in the book. The seventh chapter, presenting some refined numerical methods, is interesting. The ordinary classical difference methods are refined by using harmonic components in the solution. Descriptions are also given of the analytic method of G functions for generating the Maclaurin expansion in powers of independent variable, and the method of expanding the solution in powers of a small parameter. The refined numerical methods are illustrated with typical problems of celestial mechanics, and their efficacy is demonstrated. The second part of the book develops the general theory of canonical transformations with a special application to the K-S transformation. The general canonical theory, when the number of old and new variables differ, is discussed. In the case where the number of variables is the same, a transformation function is introduced and the introduction of a new independent variable is considered. The theory is theory of symplectic transformations and matrices is given. Okay. Then the de Broglie elements are introduced and equations for their perturbations are derived. The importance of considering the problem of motion under the action of a Gaussian elliptic ring is demonstrated by applying the von Siepel method. The general canonical theory is applied to the case of case transformation and to the introduction of new elements. In the third part of the book, the geometry of case transformation and the relation of these transformation to the theory of quaternion is discussed. The book concludes with a summary of the principal results and an outline of the chief problems remaining. One of these problems is to study the motion of particles acted upon by Gaussian elliptical ring. The volume is noteworthy for the good exposition of the material, summarizes of the working equation as well as several numerical examples illustrating the methods employed are given. Geometrical considerations are explained by numerous line drawings. Among the shortcomings of the book are the narrow scope of the treatment and the fact that other methods of solving even this particular problem are not discussed at all. We may therefore say that the book will be useful to readers who wish to become familiar with the case transformation and with the associated analytic and numerical method. That's what he wrote. But he didn't write much on the canonical. A lot of work in this book was discussed on canonical transformation. Very little is written on that. So that's why I told it depends upon the expertise of a person who is reviewing the book. So if the person with a canonical base would have done, he would have concentrated on that area as well. So anyway, today I'm going to talk on the long-term orbit computations with case uniformly regular canonical elements with oblateness. Okay, a little bit I will be discussing on canonical thing here, what has happened here. Otherwise, we will reach one lecture. Maybe I may take on how the development of this canonical. Some partly it is there here, but we can have a little bit more details also. So we carried out detailed numerical studies, and at that time our center first we had to make a technical report, internal document, and then only we were allowed to publish. So both of us, myself and Xavier James Raj, both of us worked hard on this problem. It was a difficult thing to first understand these equations, but because I got motivated by Professor Bond, V.R. Bond, who himself is a great researcher and working in NASA on technical problems, practical problems. So when he said you work with these equations, so I thought, yeah, we must do it, because he must be having some points, and practically in there it didn't help us in the orbital decay. Later on we understood there, because it was not the problem of the equations there, it was the problem of the modeling, because we were not considering the oblate diurnal atmosphere. Day to night density variations we were not considering. Not that any other problem was there. So, but then but these equations, once we learned, then we started programming them numerically. We studied these equations, and that's how gradually, finally, Dr. Xavier James Raj obtained his PhD in this canonical elements. He carried out work with oblateness. Some numerical work was already done here, and then with the drag, lot of work was carried out by him, and so he obtained a degree of PhD from Mahatma Gandhi University, and Professor Bhatnagar came to conduct his Viva examination at Kottayam. He was so, and then after that, Professor Bhatnagar delivered 2 lectures on kiosk in Vikram Sarabhai VSSC. I could not hear both his lectures, because one lecture only I could hear. Second lecture I had to rush to the Sriharikota, because my requirement was there to go there. So that was his good trip. He enjoyed that trip. He stayed with us, and he said, I will eat only home food. So it was convenient for him to be there. So So this work we started on uniformly regular Ks canonical elements. So I can just tell you the abstract of this first. This paper concerns with the study of Ks uniform regular canonical elements with Earth's oblateness. These equations 10 in number are all constant in the unperturbed motion, and even in the perturbed motion, the substitution is straightforward and elementary due to the transformation laws being explicit and closed expressions. So that was the beauty. See, these are all 10 numbers; they are all constants. No other. There are a number of canonical variables were defined in between by in this development, but all 10 were not constant. So that constant makes a lot of meaning. By utilizing the recursion formulas of Legendre polynomials, we are able to include any number of Earth zonal harmonics Jn in the package and also economize the computations. A fixed step size fourth order Runge-Kutta-Gill method was employed because we did, as I told you, we didn't do much research on the numerical areas because the idea was to see the dynamics of the equations which we are studying, how they behave, is employed by numerical integration of the canonical equation. And this was taking, Runge-Kutta-Gill has given a modification to Runge-Kutta fourth order Runge-Kutta method, which optimizes the time utilization. So that's why we remained with this. Utilizing 5 test cases covering a large range of eccentricity and semi-major axis, we have carried out computations to study effects of Earth's zonal harmonics. We took only zonal. Tesseract are time dependent. So time dependents are quite complicated because you have to follow the time also. But here you do not have to worry about the time. And integration is step size variation, bilinear relation, because as we saw earlier, there is a bilinear relation. And energy equations are used for checking the accuracies of the numerical integration. From the application point of view, the package is utilized to study the behavior of 900 kilometer height near circular sun-synchronous satellite orbit, because that time PSLV project was going on and our sun-synchronous orbit around 900 kilometer altitude was to be injected into orbit. So we took that as a case study, as a particular one. And it was a circular orbit, so we studied how this orbit will behave. Orbit over a long duration. So for 220 days we did the calculations, and the necessity of including more number of Earth zonal harmonics is noticed. See, when you are working on a circular orbit, near circular orbit, then the necessity of including the higher zonal harmonics also was found to, we noticed that it is necessary. The package is also used to study the effect of higher zonal harmonics for 3 900 kilometer height near circular orbits with inclination, with different inclination. We know at critical inclination things happen differently. We are at 63.2, 63 degree and 24 minutes. That is the critical inclination. So we took one to the nearby. One is near to the 60 there, and one this side, that side, by including our zonal harmonics up to J24 means J2, J3, J4 up to J24. The mean eccentricity EM is found to have a long period of 459.6. So you can see with inclination, this was 459.6. This went for this or inclination, it was this, the long period of this, and then this. So around this, when we go exactly at that, then this is going to have it's difficult to, because that's why the resonances studying at that critical inclinations are of utmost importance, respectively. Sharp changes in the variation of the omega argument of origin near the minima to EM are noticed. The value of omega m are found to be, because these are mean values, we converted them. As I told you, the conversions we utilized the expressions of short periodic perturbations due to J2. Mainly J2 does, but you need some effect due to a higher J3, J4, etc. also is there, especially J4 will be there, are found to be very near 2 plus minus 90 degrees in the extrema of EM. The same orbit is employed to study the effect of variation of inclination from 0 to 180 degrees on long period T of eccentricity from J2 to J24 terms. And T is found to increase rapidly as we proceed towards the critical inclinations. Two critical inclination will be there. One is 63 degree and 63.4 degree, and another will be 180 minus 63.4. So that will be other side 116.6 degree. So the introduction is the orbit of, these are all anyway the normal this thing. Let me tell you, so when we do the numerical integration with normally Coval's method, you can use anywhere, calculating perturbation to a set of Keplerian or equivalent elements. The elements of orbit need not be of standard Keplerian, provided they are slowly varying or completely specify the state of the value. The method of Kustanimo-Stiefel, known as KS method, provides such a set of elements introducing a new independent variable called fixed initial time and transforming to a four-dimensional coordinate system. In this new system, a set of equations called KS perturbational equation is obtained, which has the form of a set of perturbed harmonic oscillators. So we had utilized this earlier in our study. This is where the RS1, the satellite, Rohini satellite was studied here for 400 days, 406 days or so. So we had enough experience with the numerical integration with this. So with a strong background, we were going to carry out the study. There was one more reference. Another form of KS differential equations was utilized by Saraf and Auer to develop an orbit computation package by including any number of zonal harmonic terms with the help of recursion formulas of Legendre polynomials. However, the package was used for computation during a small durations. So we got some idea to get how the recursion formula could be utilized. Since the canonical approach to a given mechanical system converts this system into a simple form through transformations, our aim in this paper has been to make a detailed numerical study of the canonical form of KS theory with respect to a complex force model. The derivation of canonical equations describing the perturbed motion is by no means trivial, since, for instance, the adopted laws of time transformation must be incorporated in the canonical set. The satisfaction of this requirement implies the knowledge of more refined instruments of general canonical theory, as, for instance, the enlargement of phase space and the appropriate restrictions on the initial conditions. For detailed numerical study, we had chosen the uniformly regular KS canonical elements. This is on page 251 of this book. It is described. I have taken quickly. I took it. I thought I can just show you where all the elements alpha, beta are constant in the Kepler motion. We have developed an orbit computation package by including the effect of Earth's oblateness. The recursion formulas of Legendre polynomials are utilized to include up to any number of orthogonal harmonic terms. Any number you can do. You can pass is a recursion form terms Jn. However, the numerical computations are done up to J36. 4 test cases we took with different, perigee apogee altitudes, small to very large. And then we have used the bilinear relation and energy equation to check the accuracies. It is concluded from the study that a large integration size. See, one advantage of these equations is that you can go for even larger step sizes, because in the transformed space, your equations do not remain that much nonlinear, even when the same problem you are studying. So you are able to manage good solutions even with larger step sizes. Can be utilized for moderate eccentricity cases for accurate orbit computation during long-term integration. That is the advantage of these new variables. That's why they are numerically stable. From the application point of view, the package is utilized to study the long-term behavior of 900 kilometers. I told you we were taken today also. There was a PSLV launch, I think, some time back. They have Brazilian satellite plus another some 27 or 28 satellites were launched. A sun-synchronous satellite orbit of PSLV mission. The mean orbital elements are generated for 220 days because oscillating will be changing. During a revolution, they can change by 20 kilometers. in semi-major axis, or even more sometimes. Nearly 3078 revolutions for us zonal harmonics. But mean elements, many mean elements, as I told you, they are not unique for any this thing. Depends upon the theory which we are using to convert them. The long periodic terms in eccentricity and inclination are found to have a period of 129 days. The extrema of the mean eccentricity and inclination is found to occur near to this degree of mean argument of perigee. This may be there, but see, we learned by doing our hard work. So long-term orbit computations are also made for the 900 kilometer height orbit with inclination near to critical inclination. 26, this is the critical inclination, 63 degree, 26 minutes, and then 180 minus this, that is another. There are two critical inclinations. The higher zonal harmonics are found to have significant effect on the mean eccentricity. The long periodic terms in eccentricity are found to have large period. Long period, because the eccentricity will have a long period. Sharp changes in the variation of omega mean near the minima of EM are noticed. The same orbit is used to study the effect of orbital inclination variation from 0 to 180. We took from 0 to 180 degrees on long term of eccentricity with J2 to J4 term. So this was we did a very detailed, numerical calculation. By at that stage, we had a good program with us, because it was difficult to get the programs from abroad or otherwise, money problem and so many problems were there, and we were not easily given also programs by others. So whatever we had, we were very happy with our programs. For example, the period increases from this to this as the inclination goes from this to this. So all these studies, gave us a good idea. We learned from there, and with all that thing only, we went this with these equations. We once I did enough work with the analytical, with the KS elements, with the drag and oblateness, then we utilize them. Then Xavier said that he wants to do PhD. Or then I said, okay, we will do canonical variables. These variables we will do, because he was in this also. He was involved. So I said we will do with this, because he understood. And then it was not easy task to go generate a theory from here, that I will be covering in my next lecture. With oblateness J2, J3, J4, but we were able to improve upon the results of our previous studies. Now let us see the equations. K's canonical equations of motion. These are the classical equations, Newtonian equation, and we are taking only the oblateness. So only V is coming. So we are not taking P, where drag kind of, because we have seen there two type of forces are involved. So equations, the case element equations of motion, regular element equations of motion, they are P and V both. So we have taken only, since we are going to consider only the oblateness, so V only is there. So this is the equation, and describing the motion of a particle in rectangular coordinate x1, x2, x3 under the perturbed time independent. This is, we have taken only time independent, because this can be, if you take total potential of Earth, that will be dependent also. Tesseract and zonal and tesseract terms, both terms will come. So we have not taken time dependent terms. Can be written in the canonical form. We can write the same thing in terms of the Hamiltonian form, with the Hamiltonian this. So these are the momentas. This is the radial distance. This is the V potential, and this K square is the gravitational constant, because he writes K square. Some people will write mu as the gravitational constant. So we should not get confused with that, K square or mu. It doesn't matter, it's only the name. So adding the negative total energy P0 to the Hamiltonian H to obtain homogeneous Hamiltonian, and then applying the transformation dt by ds equal to R, we obtain the Hamiltonian now. So we have added the negative of the total energy P0, and then multiplied this by R, dt by ds R. So R got, so that denominator R is no more there. So H is H into, or earlier H into R. This earlier H into R. So you got this R is, that's why R is coming over here everywhere. And here it got avoided. So this is, there is no singularity now here with the equations of motion. So this is the equations of motion with the new Hamiltonian. Now where the function x0 is equal to t. The x0 is written for symmetry purpose. This is written as t equal to t, time t. So time t is also one of the your independent variable. Now employing the canonical transformation given by, these are the canonical transformation. These are all explained there. But we at that time for writing the research paper, we have taken appropriately some of the material, because this is from the research paper only. These are I have taken. So this is converting into the this is the physical space x1 x2 and converting into the other one, and then you have this your capital lambda. This one is there. This is similar to your the case matrix where fourth column also will be required. Fourth row will be also required here. So these are all there, and then the obtain the new Hamiltonian we obtain in this form with the help of these transformations. So in terms of bars we have got now. So this has gone in terms of bars. And the bilinear relation is this. This is the bilinear relation. Like we had bilinear relation, here also we have a bilinear. Is a first integral of the new canonical equation. So dl by ds equal to 0. Now s is the independent variable here so far. So s is the independent variable in this case. So these are the equations. Hence the Hamiltonian h in 3 reduces to this, because dl by ds equal to 0 in 3, that here and then we, with the help of that, we get in this form. So this is the one. The basic canonical system with respect to fictitious time s is obtained by utilizing the canonical transform. The number of canonical transformations are applied before we reach to the canonical set what we need. But this is all, you see, theoretical, but the final things we will get will be wonderful. So we have got now Hamiltonian in this form, scaling it also 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 you are scaling this. So we have made multiplied by 1 by 4. So this is k by 4. And your u and w's have come. That is the state vector and velocity, I mean equivalent to that velocity kind of thing, you can say. And the new canonical variables are, if you read that book carefully, then one can, and it takes little time, not immediately in 1 round or 2 rounds, but little patiently we read, we can understand. That's how I took it. I understood those things, and then we. So this is only we have written for continuity purpose for that research paper, to have the only minimum things we have written there here, and then this canonical set has come in this form, corresponding to the Hamiltonian form or the equations of a perturbed harmonic oscillator. These are the canonical equations corresponding to the Hamiltonian 5 of this and of a perturbed harmonic oscillator. And now the separation of the Jacobi equations corresponding to unperturbed Hamiltonian 5 can be achieved through the canonical. See, this separation is a very important task, and it is not a must that everything gets separated. So this itself is another area where people do a lot of research. So this is the canonical transformation we have used, and with the this is the generating function. Now you see the H0 contains alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and alpha 4. Alpha 0 is not there now here. Perturbed Hamiltonian becomes this. So when you don't take perturbations, you are left with only with this. When you take perturbations, then only this V is appearing in this form. Okay. Now a generating function, another generating function you see. S. This is the generating function S through the canonical transformation. This transforms the Hamiltonian H bar equal to H plus del You are hearing me?
Yes, sir, you
Are
are
you able to
audible.
hear me?
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
in between some fluctuation was there. I was just so H plus del S by del small s. So this has become, now you see the beauty of this H bar. See, only perturbation is coming. This is constant. So when you take partial derivatives, there is in this one, this to this, there is a great transformation. So this equation 6 to this equation, there is a great transformation. Now you do not have a, see here when you take partial derivatives, you will get del L, that is by del alpha. When you take one, you will get at least so. So when you take in when that beta 1, it will become constants. Those values will become constant. But here they are not there. See, they are not there. So they will all be. So that's how those the equation 8. It follows that 10 equation alpha beta are constant in the unperturbed motion. When you take unperturbed motion, this fellow is not there. This does not matter because this is a constant value. Nu is a constant value. K square is a constant value. So that is how these equations are of great importance. And certainly I was very much, because I had done enough work in the Hamiltonian area, because my PhD started with Hamiltonians, and then we studied also in MSc as well as. So then I was thrilled that these equations we are going to work with, this is going to be very useful. And now I have taken from the book. This is the given in book. So I thought you can see the how that fellow that is carried out. This is the generating function there, and then these are coming, and they can be inverted from one to other side. This complicated transformation that can be inverted, and then you have this. Note the property. This square is equal to this the W's and K's becomes in betas and alpha 0. Again, the transition of equation 34 in the notation using C function. See that C function, that he is in between, telling in between. Whatever that review was there, that the C functions. So those also in between he explains. But anyway, see, I was not interested in that. I was interested only in this. So he makes this transformation. He makes this transformation, and he gets this equation. See, the beauty of this equation is, you see that through the comment. It follows that all 10 elements alpha beta are constant in the unperturbed motion. This is the uniformly regular set of elements which was announced in comment 6 of section 19. Okay, somewhere, yes. See, what comments is this? The uniform equation 130 and 138 may be useful. This 138, let us see. In astronautics, when large perturbing acceleration thrust occur. So even in rocket equations also we can use. May then happen, I have not used them, but it could have been. It may then happen that the orbit is converted from hyperbolic to elliptic type, or elliptic to hyperbolic, or inversely. So this is one set which is valid. Otherwise, when you are going from elliptic to hyperbolic, you have you cannot have the same equation. You'll have to convert there. You will have to get into another set in an unpredictable manner, converted from hyperbolic to elliptic in an unpredictable. And thus the uniform formulation is desirable for achieving a smooth automatic computation. So here, even if your orbit is going, from elliptic to hyperbolic, these equations still they are valid, and they will do their task. The advantages of uniform treatment and of the use of elements are then combined. That's why these equations were very useful. So that then we followed on this. So we started our work with this. This is the potential of the Earth, zonal harmonic. When symmetry, this is axial symmetry. Earth gravitational field with axis with your axis, your z direction axis. This is symmetrical. Then you can write in terms of the zonal harmonics. So these are r is the equatorial radius, small r is the distance of the particle from central body, and j and r dimensionless constant known as zonal harmonics, and p and r legendal polynomials of degree n. The values of Jn are taken because this was a fairly recent paper that time. Hogg published, I think, in Celestial Mechanics. We'll see that. So this we took those values from there because he was working also on near circular orbit, so he need to take some higher coefficients he has taken in his calculations. So we have taken that data so that we put a accurate data. As I told you, this is a Kingheli has last time. Kingheli and his group, on RAE, they have contributed significantly to the updatement of these coefficients. Are not, see, these coefficients have come with lot of efforts. All these values. These have come with a lot of satellites, data, and this, and then they got updated. So a lot of efforts have gone in this. And that's what I was telling about moon. Still, we have the people have to work hard because the other side of moon we do not see from this here from Earth. Only one side we see. But the data, as the missions are going, the data, whatever data they are coming, because they take off full round around the moon. Those data are to be evaluated thoroughly, and then from there the coefficient might and there is a quite significant difference also this side and other side of moon. So with respect to V9, we have developed an orbit computation package through the uniform regular KS canonical elements, that those equations 8, for the economic computation of V and del V with respect to Legendre polynomial of any degree n. We are utilized this because these are coming, their partial derivatives, etc. They are coming. So we utilize these ones. And this, as I told you, one of the paper when we were studying, from there we got the idea how to use them. So with some efforts, it was not just overnight thing. We had to spend enough time to develop this package. So for numerical integration, we have used only fourth order Venkakuta method. The computation was done with the terms up to J36 also we took. We knew that we don't need that much, but we just wanted to see, okay, how this program will work, because since we had the facility to use and we were working at that time to check what kind of where future this program could be utilized. Detailed numerical computations for 4 test cases. I will tell you those 4 test cases. They were from small eccentricity to very high eccentricity we have taken, whose initial condition position velocities are given in the table 1. And that we will see. And orbit computation has been done for 25, 50, these things. So we can see the table 1 itself, what table 1 we have done. This is the table 1. So these are the initial conditions, position and velocity, and this is the orbital elements. So you can see there that the inclination is we have kept same, and this here, see this case. You see this case, the perigee height is very less. You subtract from there 6378, so you will have around 200 and some 24 or something like that you will get. So perigee is only that much, and accent, this is the apogee 6378. Again you subtract from here. This was a very small orbit. And here most of the places the perigee is 6378, you subtract from here, so 422 or something it will be there. And then this is the which varying, you can see the eccentricity is varying. Eccentricity is given here. See, in this case eccentricity is only 0.014, this is 0.037, and point A is 0.17, and this is 0.95. This is highly eccentric orbit, where the apogee is going to 2,65,000. Perigee is the same thing, because as you go on, you are at perigee, because you can see from perigee, because mean anomaly is 0, and here only you are going other side, because 180, so you are at apogee. So that's how we find out where are we at initial, but then it can go up to this. This is one. So this is just to check, with the how our results will look like. And then we have taken, those are the 4 cases, and we have with different integration step sizes. See here, your step size will be in terms of second per kilometer. So that is the how the dimension of that comes. So we can see the results there. And then this is used, bilinear relations are used for checking the accuracy. Ideally, at any place, alpha betas are known, so it should be 0, but it won't be 0. So, but it will tell how much small it is. Similarly, these values will have been utilized. Energy also we can utilize. Now this table 2, you can see these are the steps per revolution. Variation of oscillating semi-major axis with, these are oscillating, not, we are not converted to mean. So oscillating means they are coming directly from there, are zonal harmonics. So we have taken different zonal harmonics. When we have taken only J2 or 12 or up to J24 or up to J36. So the 25 revolution, you see the hardly much difference is not there, little bit difference only is there. And these are with the different step size. So you can see whether you use 24 or whether you use 120 steps. 120 steps per revolution means you are using quite a, 5 times more computer time approximately you may take. But you see this number is saying, this number is this 8556 8556. So the in 25 revolution there is not much change. There is no change as such up to this level. Maybe change later. And this is after 10 revolutions, because different orbits are with different, So this is case A, this is case B. This is a high eccentric orbit, So here you will see the difference. Because when we take only 24 steps, you get this number. And even here also it is a difference. You take only J2, you get this thing, but you take up to J12 to this, the difference. But some differences are seen when it is, because it's a highly eccentric orbit. So this has got, these effects are there for higher zonals also. And even this 24 does not do a good job. And 48, this can do 70 to 2408 to at least their differences are quite less. So, but still we are seeing, maybe you need some more, because this is a highly eccentric orbit, and near the perigee, sometimes the errors grow there only. Even then, eccentric and the independent variable is here different S. So this case, and it has taken 57 days time for 10 revolutions. So each revolution is there. It takes 5.7 days time each. So it's a huge computer time, a big orbit. And in this case, you can see here, this is working quite well. And I'm just seeing the last one because this is the worst, with up to 36 and then 24 to this. This is working well. D case also 36, 4.1 and 4.2. So there is hardly any difference from 24 to this. So with 48 and this, these are all, they are doing quite okay. But only for high eccentric orbit, things were not up to the mark. And this is the time taken, mean solar day, MSD, mean solar day. And this is the case, second per kilometer. See, the unit for this is, the time is here, a second per, in 1 second, how much kilometer it goes, that is the thing, the unit it takes in S has got. And this is also, this has got some problem with this 24, but then gradually it is quite okay. So last 3 do not change. Okay. Now this table says bilinear relation and energy equation. values with J2 to J36. So we have taken J2 to J36. This is the bilinear relation, and this is the energy equation into 10 to the power of minus 10, 10 to the power minus 8. So these are the values which we get. So as you go with the less step size, I mean the number of more steps per revolution. So this is going to it will certainly this will reduce. So this gets in this form. So 24 gives more error, but then it gives gradually it is from here to here there is a slight increase also. So maybe optimum, maybe for this case, maybe somewhere there itself it may be okay. 96 is sufficient. You don't have to go. Sometimes that also happens if you go on increasing the number of steps. So it is your other errors might increase also. So this is a numerical things also one has to be very cautious doing. In this case, it is still 120 does a good job. Here itself this is okay. So these are all small values only. So that's how we did the check for the accuracies. And here in you can see those days graphs were not coming by MATLAB etc. We did not had. So you can see here these are all my handwriting, energy variation, and all these things are written there. So we had drawn something, and then we have written other things. And J2 to integration is step size 0075 second per kilometer. This is the integration step size, which may be equivalent to somewhere maybe in the text might have been written. So this is how these are all small values, 10 to the minus 10, 9, 10 like that. This is the minus, this is plus. So these are all for checking. Later at that time our computer was there not that big, but later on we got extended double precision. That's why when some places I used to tell 10 to a minus 28, 26. So where we were working on double extended double precision. So there we were getting better results. Sun synchronous orbits, because as that time the whole target was that we were working for the PSLV mission, and this study has helped us to understand also the oscillating mean things which were required. You can see here itself, you see the oscillate at this level itself, the 5 kilometer difference you can see in the oscillating and mean semi-major axis. And all parameters there will be. So these are all converted only by this software. This is a good software. This theory only Dr. Takvi and Dr. Bhatnagar they had improved upon for the second order theory. This was first order theory for near circular orbits with J2. But that time we had only this with us, so we used this. Later on we added Bhatnagar and Takvi's theory also to our mean element theory. Now you see here in this figure, variation of mean eccentricity EM argument and this. You can see here J2 to J24, J2 to J6. So this difference comes. Okay, normally we used to work with J2 to J6, but then this is where this much can only change. So we wanted to make an estimate. When we take higher level, what is that we lose, or that is required or not required. So all those decisions we could, with this study we could understood the various things, that how many terms are sufficient. But you see here J2, this dotted one are omega, argument of perigee, and one is inclination, and this is the eccentricity. Three things we have drawn there here. Three things are drawn there here. So you can J2 term, just J2 term are not sufficient. You can see this goes quite away, and then this is because J2 terms will take only secular terms. So we need to take the higher order terms also. So J2 to J24. See J2 to J2 and J2 to 24. See, there is a lot of difference. We need not take J2 24. We at least we have to see somewhere around J. We take somewhere around J6 or J8. Then J6 because normally the later on we were taking only up to J6 because a lot of time is saved. Unnecessarily why do we do calculations? But this study was taken to understand. Get our concepts clear, because we need to work on various projects. So improve upon our knowledge, we had carried out various kind of calculations. So near circular orbits, near critical inclination orbits, near circular, near critical inclination orbits. So we took near critical or near circular orbits. So here you can see here, when we took near critical and near circular orbits, then we have seen, see, up to J3 we have taken, then up to J2 24 we have taken. So supposing we say only up to J3 we have given the results. See, the minima itself has changed with J24. This has come over here, this has come over here. And then we are getting only up to here. We are not getting up to this. So all these things, we could make out from this study, that when to take what. Similarly, here you can see up to J3, and then this one up to J24. So the idea was to get our knowledge updated through these worked examples. Otherwise, in the textbook, nobody will give you all these informations. Variation of mean eccentricity and argument of perigee. So we have taken again, here we have taken J4 and J24 we have taken. And then we studied these things. Here you can see the minimas have changed. And we have taken up to 24. So this has gone. The minima is over here, and then this has gone here. And with it up to this is the case of to J24 up to J24. These are different. This is omega, and this is eccentricity. The other both the parameters are different. Those things we have studied, and here we have showed them. Showed it in more. Variation of mean eccentricity and argument of perigee up to J4 and up to J24. J4 is showing this and 24 is showing this. So there is a lot of difference when we are taking. J4 means J2, J3, J4 have gone, and 24 has gone in this at 65-degree inclination. And this is what we wanted to show: variation of long period of mean eccentricity within inclination. See, this is a log table, log time. So you can see these numbers were very large. So this gives a good idea. Very symmetrical thing. And near the critical inclination only the problem, you can see. Difficult to compute also, because we don't know how long it will go, so we have not. Neighborhood only we have computed, so we have calculated this. So both the sides, So this is the minima. Minima comes over here, and here also something comes. This is the period. So this was near to the. For all inclinations we have done this calculation, and this is done with J2 to J24. We have taken J2 to J24. We because our program was quite fast, so we said, okay, let us do a thing and then keep it. It will be useful. So computation time also we have seen. You can see in the next one, computer time. So this is done. The computer time in CP seconds in computer there. So this is the computed time. Zonal harmonics up to, we take only up to J2, this much it takes. Okay, and then up to 12 we take. Then this goes almost near to double, near to triple, and near to 4 times. So it's not going, but so many terms are there. See, here only one term is there. Here up to 12, see J2 to J12, J3, J4 up to J12 is there. And here up to 24 terms are there. But that time is not increasing in that because of those, economically we are computing that recursion formulas and partial derivative, etc. And these are all integration steps are equal to 48 steps per hour approximately. This is the step size, because the step size is in second per kilometer in this. S is the independent variable, but that is equivalent to this much approximately. So this is written in this form, but then this is the computer time. So because we were using this, so even if we take J2 does not mean anything for the study. So this or this study are okay, whether you take up to J12 or we take up to this, or you take up to J6. So J6 would have taken half of this time. So we found that okay, we are not going to spend that much computer time. So we instead will go up to there. So that's how we decided and go up to J24. So the conclusion was made: KS uniform regular canonical equations with Earth's oblateness perturbations provide a very efficient and accurate integration method. Or this is like Koval's method for orbit computation even during long durations. Usage of the Legendre polynomials recurrence formulas. This is a standard method of recurrence formulas to other any long, when you take higher zonal harmonics to compute Earth's potential, and it's even for tesseract also they can be utilized. There also we have, and its partial derivatives economizes the computational time. Inclusion of a large number of zonal harmonic terms in the Earth's potential becomes a necessity for near circular satellite. See, near circular or satellite orbit only, you need these more number. If it is a little elliptical orbit, then you do not need so many. Near the critical inclinations, the effect of oblateness is very prominent on some of the orbital parameters of near circular orbits, and the long periodic terms have very large period. See, for moon, when we take for Earth, we even when we study 2 by 2 or 4 by 4, or even tesseract, we don't take, still we get good results. But in the case of moon, we cannot get. We have to take both tesseract and zonal. And ideal there is 8 by 8 or 10 by 10. Those kind of thing, then only you get good results there. Otherwise, you won't get good results. So there, supposing you work only with J2, J3, J4, J5, J6, you won't get, because the order of J2, J3, J4 is of the same order. Here J2 is 1000 times bigger than J3 and J4 coefficients. So these were the references. We utilized this one for our mean elements computation, and from here we took the oscillating those gravitational constants. That J2, J3, J4 values, and this is the Stiefel, that basic paper, and Sharaf has given some idea about that, how to use that tesseract, and these are our reports when we have made in our thing, and this is the one report related to this work, and this was that RS1 where Rohini satellite study was made, and this was also a numerical study. These were all numerical studies. This was reviewed in Applied Mechanics Reviews also, this document, and very good comments were obtained on this. That motivated me quite a lot. And then this was the one, and this is the standard book, on which we know how good this book is. Even then, it may have some this thing, but well, we have to see the strength of the book rather than seeing the weakness. Thank you very much for patient hearing. So with that, this was the first visit which I could complete. So my presentation is over.